Hey everyone, how's it going? My name is Jordan, and welcome to JC's Anime Reviews. Today we're going to be talking about the Berserk manga. And a few months ago I made a video talking about Volume 1 of Berserk, and since then I've read all the 40 volumes that have released so far. Also, this is not a complete review of Berserk because the manga is still ongoing, but the author takes really long hiatuses, so I decided to make a video anyways because who knows when or if he'll ever finish Berserk, but if he does one day finish it, I'll do another video talking about my full thoughts on it, but these are just my thoughts on it for now. I'll also be trying to avoid as many spoilers as possible, so when I explain what the plot is, I'm not going to go too in detail with it, but it will contain certain things that happen between volume 1 through 3. It's not going to be in super detail or in a lot of detail, but that's your warning. If you don't want to know anything about it, then don't watch this. So with that said, let's get into the plot of Berserk. Berserk follows a swordsman named Guts, who has been marked with something called the Brand, which draws demons and monsters to him. He soon meets Puck, an elf who ends up becoming his traveling companion, and as the two travel together, they soon have a run-in with a man named Griffith. You then learn that Guts has a history with him, and he has been trying to get revenge on him. Berserk is a story of revenge that ends up becoming about so much more than just vengeance. I know that wasn't a super in-depth explanation for the plot, but I did it to avoid as many spoilers as possible because I think that Berserk is a masterpiece. Just the way it tells its story and develops its characters and builds the world is just amazing, and it's the best revenge story I've ever read or watched. The main reason for it being so good as a revenge story is because from the middle of Volume 3, or some point in Volume 3, I'm pretty sure it's roughly about the middle of Volume 3, to Volume 14 shows a flashback of what happens between Guts and Griffith, and it explains why he wants to get revenge on him. And normally when a flashback happens in anime or manga and it lasts for a really long time, it's very annoying because you're spending so much time in the past with these characters when you want to see what they're doing in the present. But Berserk's flashback, or the Golden Age arc, is one of the, if not the best arc in the entire manga. It develops Guts as a character so well, and by the time you catch back up to the present, you feel like you understand him very, very well. Guts also has a super interesting backstory and a super interesting past, so all of that doesn't feel very boring, and it doesn't feel annoying that you're spending so much time in the past just because of how good the storytelling is and the writing is. For me personally, it's the best flashback in any anime or manga that I've read because it develops the characters so well, and by the end of it, you completely understand why Guts wants revenge on Griffith, and it doesn't feel like a waste of time like in other anime or manga. It's also the only time that when a flashback was ending, I was a little bit sad because of how much I liked that arc and how much I liked the storytelling. Even after this flashback ends, it continues to develop the characters extremely well, and pretty much every character introduced in Berserk is interesting, and I like them. There's very few characters that I didn't like, but the majority of characters are really interesting and really likable. Even the bad guys are kind of cool and interesting. And I also like that as the story continues, it becomes about so much more than just revenge. While revenge is a huge part of the story, and it's one of the main components of the story, it's not always the main focus. It focuses on other things, and I just like that revenge is a huge part of the story, but is not the only part of the story, and it's not like the only part they focus on. Because in any revenge story, it's usually like they're constantly talking about revenge and saying how I need to do this to get revenge and do that to get revenge, and revenge is always just like the main topic, and everyone is always talking about that, or the main character is always talking about that, or always thinking about that. It's not like that. I like that they don't like kind of shove it in your face like in a lot of other revenge stories, and that's also what makes the revenge story so much better, because it doesn't feel like it's shoving it in your face and it feels more realistic. And it's just a super interesting story, and the writing in it is amazing. The guy who wrote it, Kentaro Miura, I think is his name, I probably mispronounced that. He just did a phenomenal job writing it, and I just really, really enjoy it. I also really like the action in Berserk. I think it's really, really good. And while, since this is my first manga and I read the physical copy, it was a little hard to tell what was going on sometimes because when it would go from one page to the other, there's like the crevice in the middle, and sometimes if, let's just say, Guts is swinging his sword and it goes into the crevice, you can't quite tell what happened between there, but if you were reading it digitally, you could probably tell what happened. That's all. It was my first time reading it, so it definitely took some getting used to, but overall I think the action is really, really great, and the art style is really great as well. That has to do with why the action is so good, just because of how great it looks. But yeah, the art style is amazing, action's amazing, characters are great, story is great, everything about the anime, or the manga, everything about the manga is perfect. I think that it is a masterpiece. I did not go too far into it because I don't want to spoil anything, because I do think that it's a perfect manga, and I definitely think that it's a must read for any manga fans. Even though it's not over yet, I still think that it's a must read. It's amazing, and I just really love it. So I'm going to give Berserk an A+. While I do love Berserk and I think it's a masterpiece, I don't think it's for everyone, because there's a lot of nudity, violence, and rape. And if you're not okay with reading that in manga, then don't read Berserk, because there's quite a lot of that in it. But if you're okay with reading that, if it doesn't really bother you reading that, then I would 100% recommend reading it. It's 100% worth the read. Just has some stuff in it that a lot of people may not like. So I hope you guys enjoyed that review of the Berserk manga. Let me know in the comments below if there's any other manga you want me to check out and read. I recently got some of the Magi manga, which I watched the anime, and it was really, really good. So I'm going to be reading that manga soon. But if there's any other manga that you want me to check out, I'll try to check it out and then possibly do a review on it. So I'll see you guys next time. Bye.